wonderful time. And just a few hours we've been here since we arrived this afternoon, and just been able to reconnect with some of you, and look forward to reconnecting with more of you. And as I look around and I see these very familiar faces, a few new faces to me in here, okay, but most of them are pretty familiar. And as I even sitting here tonight, just looking around the room and look at you, and I just think, it brings back memories. Brings back memories. Lots of good memories. Some hard ones too. I know, I know some of the trials and challenges that you faced in life. We've grown up together, some of us, right? And I know as I look at you, and I know challenges, in your teams and your families and your illnesses, whatever, loss, there's been so many things. And you're here. You're here tonight, and you're, I don't know what you come to this event hoping for. I am sure that some of you come to this event and you've got some concerns. Kurt calls it interesting years in North America, the last 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it's been. I won't call them interesting, I'll call them hard. Things have not gone as well. There's been some challenges. Things have gone, kind of downhill to a degree in North America. Not everywhere. Not everywhere. There's a few teams there that are actually growing. And so, we're going to get into this. In the time that we've been home now for the last 4 or 5 months, I've just been trying to learn. As Greg calls it, walking the path, right? I'm a believer in that, walking the path, and just observing, listening to people, speaking in this ear and this ear, and just going through and just processing and trying to figure out, okay, what really is happening here, and what needs to happen, what needs to change. And I think there's some things that are coming together. I think there's some things that are coming together. I think that we're starting to really understand what needs to be done. And you know what? It's not some new magic tool. It's not even a new magic product. IT is not going to save us, nor is it going to kill us. Okay? But it's not going to save us either. And you just have to think of it that way. It's, what's going to save us is going back to the fundamentals and re-enthrowing the essential oils again. Those areas in the company that are doing really well, those teams that are doing really well, they still lead with essential oils almost entirely. And we're going to re-enthrone the essential oils again. We should own this space. It's a crowded space when you start to get into supplements and whatever else you want to talk about, skincare, personal care. That's a really crowded space. And we can be good in it, but we own essential oils. There's nobody that comes close to what we do. Nobody. And so we need to recapture that. There's no products that are more experiential, is there? I can sit here and share stories. You can sit there and share stories. A favorite of mine was so many years ago, in earlier times, having Teresa Harding call me up one day and go, Dave, I'm flying home somewhere, and I'm not going to get home in time, and I need you to go take care of a meeting in Salt Lake City for me. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm free this evening. And so I said, we'll go to, where's it at? It's at the Marriott Hotel. So I grabbed my secret weapon, which is my wife, Maria, okay? Grabbed my secret weapon, and I grabbed all those little boxes of those little 5 mil wild oranges that we had. Remember those? Yeah. And we took that up there, and I go to the hotel, and I'm looking for this room that where I'm supposed to meet in, and I'm looking for a conference room of some sort. It wasn't a conference room. It was a hotel room. And it wasn't even much of a hotel room. There was maybe 3 feet of space around the side fronts of the bed. And I walk in there, And there was, at least 10 women that were in there. And they were at another convention of some other company across the street, Michi Bags or something, I think. And they had a long day, and they want to go to dinner, and they want to get something to eat. And their leader, who wasn't even there, had told them they have to show up to this. So they were all just ticked. They were all ticked. I walked in there, and I surveyed the room, and they were sitting on the floor and on the bed, and they were looking at me like, make this quick, we're hungry. And so I learned something a long time ago, early on, because this is what we did. This is what all the founders did with you. This is what we did all the time. We weren't sitting in the office making decisions and having meetings. There was some of that, but we were out with you, and we were teaching. And I handed out some gift for each of you. I handed out these bottles of 5 ml, little bottles of wild orange. So I want you to take the lid off, put a couple drops in your hands, rub them together, cup your nose, and inhale. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Instantly, it changed. Instantly, the room, the vibes changed, and these women were just going, oh, this is amazing. And they were just going on. It was hard to get control of the room again. And when Lorraine and I left, I turned her loose on them, and she took care of the rest. But when we left that an hour later, 45 minutes later, they all signed up in doTERRA, and they all were on AutoShip. Every one of them, including 1 or 2 that were watching from the phone. Somebody was holding them. And so, that is how it is. There's nothing more experiential than the essential oils. They're impactful, they're fast, and we have to use them. We have to do that. Another thing, we have to gather. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow. We have to gather. You cannot do this business without gathering. People still need to get together. There's an epidemic of loneliness that's sweeping the world right now. And you don't overcome it with Zoom. Zoom is useful, but it doesn't overcome that human thing. We have to gather. And so there's other things we're going to talk about as well. But I want you to always remember why you first came to doTERRA. doTERRA is a special company. And it was started, frankly, by just some strong nudges, and it was a very spiritual thing for me, and I know for some of my partners. And that's why we moved in this in the beginning. It's done great good throughout the world. It's not about how big we are. In fact, I want people to know how big we are. I think sometimes that could be a deterrent, right? It's not about that. It's not about anything like that. It's about impacting lives. It's about getting out there and meeting with people. It's about connecting. Like I said, this epidemic that now is hitting the world, loneliness, said there's nothing like the essential oils for overcoming that. We have to start to gather again. We have to start to go back and re-enthrone the essential oils. Nobody can do it like us. Nobody. We have the best products. We can prove that. We have the compact sourcing. We have a lot of other great products. But don't get lost in the other great products. It's the essential oils that are going to actually make things happen. So I know there's some healing that needs to take place. I'm well aware of that. There's some healing of hearts and minds. I know that some people feel like there's been some damages, or maybe you haven't been hurt, and there's some pain that's happened. Well, we're here for the next day and a half to do some learning together and do some healing. But I think I want you to remember one thing, and that is we're friends. Okay, and nothing beats friendship. It overcomes everything. In my experiences I've had in the last few years, especially out in different countries of the world, some are very combative with one another. Some are driven by dominant religions, whether it be Christianity or Islam or whatever it might be. And I've learned that friendship, if people get together and become friends, it overcomes all of those things, and the doubts and the suspicions and everything else start to come down, and you start to realize that that's what really drives things. If you don't have friendship, and you don't hold it together and prize it, tell you, you're not going to overcome a lot of other issues this world has. And the world is not going to heck in a handbasket, okay? I think a lot of young people believe, maybe some of you believe that. It actually is a great time. It's a great time in this world. Remember that. doTERRA brings hope. You bring hope to people, and that's what we're going to talk about. This day and a half, we'll just set this up just a little bit. We want to get ideas. We want to hear from you, but we want to also just stop and think about this. Okay, get out of our individual spaces, our individual pain points, and just come back to, okay, what are we going to do to pull this back together? There's incredible talent and power in this room, and vision. You're all visionaries in this room. You all are here because you believed you could make a difference, because you believed you could do some great things, and you have, or you would be here. And so now it's time to bring up a rising generation. The generation that's coming up, let me tell you, I call them apologetic leaders. And they're apologetic leaders. They apologize for doing anything that might make them appear to be a leader in front of anyone else. It's like, come on, knock it off. The world is dying for leaders right now, more than it ever has. And we've got to help develop new leaders, and that's what you can do better than anybody else. So thank you for trusting us enough to show up and to come here to this beautiful place. And we just ask that you keep trusting. Because there's some great things are going to happen in the future. We got a little work to do. We got a lot of work to do, especially maybe to be ready for this leadership event in March, as we try to prepare some things for that. And we have a lot of the new leaders that are coming in with that. So there's a lot of key things. So, go back to your roots. Go back to those other memories. They were good times. And we're going to be seeing those again. So thank you for being so kind and welcoming Lorianne and I back like you have. We feel so loved. We want you to know that we love you. We want you to know that we have a great team. We really do. The team at the corporate headquarters has been through a lot too in the last few years. But they've hung in there. And let me tell you, they show up. They're still working really, really hard. And we need everyone. We don't want to write anyone off because they're not doing things like we would do it. We need everyone. We need to bring everybody together, and that's the key, is to bring everybody together so we're unified. There's a lot of power in that unity. So, with that, welcome to the 20.